The first time I came to New York, I stayed with my good friend Jim Peck on 125th Street, who had taken part in the early freedom rides in the United States. And they were a heroic struggle. But at the same time, sometimes they did require federal protection in order to save them from the violence of southern states. And there was the case of the Great Freedom Ride of May 1961, which was escorted by 22 highway patrol cars, 2 battalions of National Guardsmen, 3 US Army reconnaissance planes, and 2 helicopters. That's not minor stuff, just getting from Montgomery, Alabama to Jackson, Mississippi. And likewise, the famous great symbolic march from Selma to Montgomery in the March of 1965 could only succeed in attaining its objective of getting to Montgomery on its third attempt and with very substantial federal protection. So there's that connection, and many civil movements may succeed precisely because there is an awareness that whereas at the intermediate level they face violent opposition, there is at a higher level a degree of protection available to them, or degree of support. Then there are times when force may be needed to topple a regime. Civil resistance may, indeed does characteristically, produce a stalemate where it can deny a regime a degree of cooperation or embarrass it with demonstrations in the streets or whatever, maybe undermine the unity of its armed forces. All of those things may be achieved, but it may still not be able to unseat an adversary regime. Hence, for example, the impressive Buddhist revolt in South Vietnam in 1963 against the policies of the minority Catholic government of Ngo Dinh Diem, but that could only end with a coup d'etat with a degree of support, tolerance, possibly even planning from an intelligence agency which we all know and love in Washington, D.C. Another instance of where a civil movement then led to an action which was somewhat different from that which the civil movement itself had been planning and supporting was the Iranian Revolution of 1979, beginning largely as a student revolution, largely as seeing itself as it were, politically progressive, organizing massive demonstrations, undermining the Shah, diminishing the United States' support for the Shah, Jimmy Carter realizing that he was onto a loser with this ruler who tortured his opponents and so on. And yet it took what one might call an Islamic Leninist in the shape of Ayatollah Khomeini to bring about the end of the Shah's regime and a new regime, because at a certain stage a greater degree of organization, toughness, even ruthlessness was required than that which the demonstrators could provide.